only ever made one thing out of chainmail, and ever since making this, I have only dreamed of the possibilities of everything else that I could make. This week, with the help of plenty of YouTube tutorials and my wrinkly brain full of ideas, I'm going to make as many chainmail items as I can before my fingers give out. Let's get into these supplies. All you really need are jump rings and 2 pliers. The reason you need 2 pliers is you're going to be opening and closing the jump rings as you use them. You got grippy both sides. I like these 2 because this one has a nice flat tip that I can really get a good grip, and this one has a more precision tip where I can bend a lot easier. As for the jump rings, the size that you use depends on what you want. I personally will be using 16 gauge 5/16 inch diameter jump rings, as well as some slightly smaller ones that are 16 gauge 7/32 inch diameter, and some larger ones that are 12 gauge 1/2 inch diameter. All of these will be anodized aluminum, silver color. Obviously, you can pick whatever color you want. Firstly, I want to start with a chainmail bag. I have been to several Ren fairs. Okay. I do not have a high fantasy bag to use. I've just been using a little fanny pack like this one. The vibes are not there. So let's upgrade this. Now, of course, to start, I'm going to look through Pinterest for some inspiration. And I see a whole lot of vintage items, which I like them, but that's not the vibe I'm going for. I kind of want a more modern, sort of slouchy style. And the clasp top just feels a little too difficult for me to incorporate. So I'm just scrolling, and then I come across this beautiful piece, the Lola Shoulder Bag Black Party Edition, $96, which $96 for a purse made out of chainmail seems honestly a little cheap. I love this bag, but there is a couple things I want to fix about it. Number 1, I want it to be a little bit bigger. And number 2, I want it to have a lining on the inside. And then I also want to add my own flair and add some like little danglies, maybe some spikes on it, some little doodads. So that is my rough plan for this bag. Let's get into the execution of it. I'm using the European 4-in-1 method for the majority of this bag, so I'm going to briefly go over how I do it. So I have a set of 2 pliers here, and then I have a bunch of closed rings and a bunch of open rings. So I'm going to start the European 4-in-1 by taking an open jump ring like so, and putting 4 closed jump rings into it. And then I'm going to close the open jump ring. Then when I lay it flat, it looks like this. And now I want to lengthen this piece of chainmail. And how I'm gonna do that is I'm going to take another open jump ring, and this time I'm going to add 2 closed jump rings to it because I'm going to weave it into this piece here. So this open jump ring is our middle piece, and these 2 are our outside pieces. So what I'm going to do is I want to match the direction that the middle ring is pointing. So I'm going to weave it up through this first ring here, and then down through the second ring here. And then when you lay it flat, voila! I have lengthened the piece by 1 length of jump ring. And then you can just continue to lengthen the piece by going up through the first ring and down through the second. Like so, until you have a piece that is nice and long. So the actual structure of this bag I want to be made up of 3 main parts. I'll show you what I mean on my fanny pack. So there is a front piece of fabric here, a back piece of fabric here, and then there is a piece of fabric that lines the bottom, kind of creating some depth to the bag. I am going to start with the front and the back panels. So I want to kind of make a rectangular piece. I'm going to weave 2 of these pieces together, and I'm going to do this by making sure that both of the pieces are laying in the same direction so you can see the middle circles. Oh, I gotta zoom in. Oops, that's farther out. There we go. So I'm gonna start by laying these in the same direction. You can see the tops are right here and the bottoms are underneath. I know it's a little confusing. And now I'm going to connect them by taking an open jump ring and weaving it through these first two on each side. And I want this open jump ring to face the same direction as the middle jump rings here. Now this is a little tricky to show on camera. I'm gonna try my best. Basically, I wanna go down through these first two up here, and then up through the other side here. And then I'm going to close this jump ring. As you can see, the newly added jump ring is facing the same direction as these two. I did learn how to do this from a wonderful YouTuber called Does Cosplay. I'm going to link her tutorial below because I think she did a little bit of a better job and went into more depth on how exactly to make this. This YouTube video is not a tutorial on how to make chainmail. It is me painfully learning how to make chainmail. Go check her video out. I'll leave it in the description below. Now the process of the 4-in-1 method is very simple, honestly, once you get the hang of it. However, due to the size of the bag, it took a long time to make these two front and back panels. I started by making strips however long I wanted the bag to be, and then I made several of those and then proceeded to connect them until I got the height of the bag that I desired. That was literally probably a day and a half of making chainmail that I just explained in, what, 10 seconds? Ugh. After I finished the front panel, I then went ahead and did the exact same thing again and made the back panel. Okay, so I have my two completed pieces of chainmail fabric here, and now I need to connect them. For the middle strap of chainmail fabric, I did the exact same thing, except I made an extra long piece of European 4-in-1 fabric. Now I'm laying it here at a 90-degree angle to the other two pieces of chainmail, and I just had to figure out how to connect them. I don't want them to be going in the same direction because I want you to kind of be able to tell that there are indeed 3 pieces of chainmail fabric on this bag. I don't really see anything online about how to connect two 90-degree pieces of chainmail, so I'm gonna try to just figure it out on my own. I'm gonna try to do this right. Let's see. On this side, I'm going to have the hoop follow the direction of this middle row here. For the middle piece, I'm going to have it follow the direction of the middle hoop here. So it's kind of like 2 separate 4-in-1s, a 4-in-1 hybrid, but I'm just going to hoop it through and hope for the best. Let's see how that looks. So you can see that the hoop I just added is following the direction of the second row here, and then if you are looking at this piece here, it's following the same direction as the middle row here. So I'm just going to continue to connect the pieces like this, and hopefully it looks okay in the end. And I'm also going to do the same thing on the other side. It was pretty much exact same process on the other side. It was a little bit trickier because there was not a whole lot of visual room because I was now creating a bag shape, so it was harder to see everything. There was a lot going on, but I managed to figure it out, and in the end I had a pretty cool looking chainmail bag piece. However, it is not quite finished yet because all bags need a shoulder strap. So here's my idea for a shoulder strap. I want it to be relatively simple, so I have these really big rings. These are the large rings I'm using. I think that's 12 gauge and then 1/2 inch diameter, and these are really small rings. And the small rings are 16 gauge and 7/32 inch diameter. And I'm basically just intertwining 1 large ring and then 2 small rings, and then just making a very long chain for the shoulder strap. And now to connect it to the actual bag, I have these little clasps that I have added to the sides of the bag, and that way I can just hook the strap on like so. Now if I ever want to add like some little keychains or a different size strap, it'll be pretty easy to change it out. Now it's time to work on the details, as if the chainmail itself isn't detailed already. So I have these cool swords and various weapon little doodads, and I have these spikes as well. So I'm just making a simple chain that consists of 1 kind of link to a box chain and then a large ring in the center. I just thought it looked pretty good and it was relatively simple, so that's what I went for these little little danglies. If you want a tutorial on how I made the box chain link, I will include a little tutorial in the extended version of this YouTube video. However, you can also easily find the tutorial online on YouTube. And then lastly, I do want to put a liner on the inside of the bag so that way anything I put in the bag doesn't have a chance of falling through or getting snagged on the chains. So I have this really simple black fabric and I'm just going to try to match the size of the bag and sew a little liner for it. I'm cutting this a second time because I didn't have enough seam allowance on the first cut. There. I also needed a way to close this, so I grabbed this black zipper and went ahead and sewed that on the outside of the bag as well. So now it fully zips closed. All I have to do is sew up the sides. I did, however, mess up a little bit, and I accidentally kept the zipper entirely closed and then sewed the entire bag shut, so I had no way of turning the bag inside out. So I had to do a little bit of seam ripping. So I have the completed liner right here. Now I need to figure out a way to secure it to the chainmail bag. So my idea is to use rivets and then use a jump ring and weave it through the bag and into the chainmail. I have two different kinds of rivets here. I have a darker one that's a little bit bigger and then a silver one that's a little bit smaller. I think I'm going to go ahead and use the darker one here. I'm going to try to get as close to the corner as possible with this rivet. I'm going to start by poking a little hole in the fabric. Hopefully this works. Perfect. And I'm going to place the rivet here like so. I'm going to get my rivet punching tool. Okay, so I switched the rivets to the silver ones actually because these ones have little teeth on them. When I pulled on the other rivet, it just fell out. So I feel like the teeth will be able to hold on to this fabric a lot better. And then I'm taking this rivet and pushing it through the hole and then using my rivet punch and securing it in place. I swear this is easier. For some reason this one's being a butt. Stay. I press it down and there we go. And then the other side is nice and clamped on the fabric. I should have done the rivets first before sewing this, but I didn't really think about it. All right, so I have the 4 rivets on these 4 corners. Now I just have to repeat the process on the other side. Oh, come on. Go through the damn hole. Ah, this is the worst. This one right here will be the death of me. Because uh-oh, I poked too many holes in this. Shit! Oh my god, you see this? This is not supposed to be there. Well, this isn't going to be that big of a problem because I think I have a solution. And I will let you know what it is in a second. Alright, oh my god, I did it. Okay, now this bag looks really good. I have the rivets in. However, I have made a mistake and accidentally punched a hole in the wrong portion of the fabric. So my solution for this is I'm going to add another rivet. It's just gonna be there. It's at the bottom of the bag. You won't be able to see it well. It'll be inside of the chainmail. Now all that's left is to secure the liner to the inside of the chainmail bag. I'm gonna take these big old loops and I'm just gonna weave it through both of the rivets on each corner. So now all that's left is to secure each corner of the liner to each corner of the chainmail bag. Ooh, oh my god. So I added a couple more rivets to the center of the lining so that way it could stay in place a little bit better. Here it is. I've already been using it quite a bit, so it has some stuff in it. I love it. It is so beautiful. One thing I might do to upgrade this a little bit is expand the strap so it can be like a side sling. But I think this is perfect for the Ren Fair. It's nice and big. I can hold some stuff in it. I can put my pickle in there from the Ren Fair pickle guy. Now I feel like this piece is probably the most difficult piece that I will be making. It was very complex. Anything I make after this will hopefully be easier. Next, I'm moving on to another useful accessory, one that will hold up my pantaloons, a belt. Now the question is, do I want a more useful belt or more of a statement belt? We will see. Scrolling through Pinterest, there's a lot of different variations of a chainmail belt, a lot of which I'm seeing have long dangly chains, very statement belts, and corsets. I really like this picture in particular. Now this is obviously multiple different items, but I feel like there is a lot going on that I like. So I think I want to go for a more like complex multi-weave belt while also keeping it somewhat simple. Meaning like keeping it a little bit thinner and smaller so that way I can wear it with a lot of stuff and not have it be in the way. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take one of my big rings and 4 of my small rings and add them to the big ring. Close that up. And then with this, I'm going to take another big ring, add it through the 2 small rings, and add 2 more small rings like so. This is a relatively simple chain that I think will be a good base for the belt that I can then build on after. So I'm gonna go ahead and lengthen this to be the size of my waist. So I finished that and I feel like it's not quite intense enough for me. I need this to be a little bit more detailed. So I'm gonna torture myself and I'm going to make an entire belt length of chain out of my smallest O-rings using the European 4-in-1 method. Again, it's a relatively simple process doing the 4-in-1 method, but because the links are so small, it is very time consuming to get the length of chain that I need to fit around my waist. But alas, I'm going to do it because it's going to look sick. So, me and my potentially future-prone carpal tunnel hands got to work. And now I just need to secure it, and I'm going to use the small rings again just to attach it in various spots. I also added a lobster clasp to the end of the belt so I could secure it together. I have the belt here displayed on my mannequin. Now I want to zhuzh it up a little bit. So I plan on adding some little detailing, and what I want to start with is this little triangle that I made. I just made it out of some of the big links and some of the small links that I have. I like the detail of these big rings on the top, so I'm trying to replicate that a little bit on the bottom without making an entire just circle of the exact same rings again. I went ahead and secured those to the belt, and I made sure to evenly space them, leaving some good space in between because I want to add spikes to this belt. These are the same spikes that I used for the bag, and I just kind of put them on the belt however I thought they looked good, scattering them around, adding long ones and short ones. And here is the final look of the belt. I really like how it turned out. I will say it is snagging a little bit on my fabric here, but I just shouldn't wear lace with chainmail. That's my bad. I think it's relatively simple, so I think it will match quite a few outfits. Although I can't use it to hold up my pantaloons, I can use it to protect my waist from any sort of slashing damage. I do think I need a little bit more protection, so let's move on to the next piece. Now I have to make a chest piece to protect all of my vital organs. So of course I'm going to be making a cropped tank top out of chainmail. I'm going to unburden myself of all potential controversy here and say that Pinterest caused me to want to make a cropped tank top because I searched up chainmail top to get some inspiration, and here's what I was shown. Lots of tank tops, and I love it. I'm eating it up, okay? Plus, I want something that will go over an outfit and be more of a casual wear. So I really like the looks of this top, how it has the little triangles on each side. And I want to kind of try to not replicate, but make something similar to this, but this is kind of what I'm going for. So the weave used here isn't exactly what I want to do. I want to do a 4-in-1 for this. So my plan of attack here is to make 2 little diamond pieces and then connect them with straps on the top and the back. I already have 1 diamond created here, and now I need to replicate this. The process is relatively simple. I'm just making strands of the 4-in-1 weave, and then after I connect them, I add and remove links as needed to create the seamless diamond shape. All right, so this is what I'm working with so far, but I want to visualize it a bit better, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it up on my mannequin. Here is my mannequin. It currently has the chainmail armor that I made in my previous chainmail video, but I'm gonna go ahead and take that off and put up my new pieces. So I have it pinned up. I think the next thing I need to add to make it actually wearable is a strap across the top, a strap across the back, and then something to connect these 2 pieces together in the center. Obviously, I'll have to wear something underneath it because it is see-through, but I like how it looks. I secured it in the center with a big jump ring here. Now I'm going to go ahead and make the straps. So for the next strap, I'm starting with a large jump ring, followed by 2 small jump rings, 1 medium jump ring, 2 small jump rings, 1 medium jump ring, and continuing on until the strap is long enough. My 3 chains here. This one's for the neck strap, and then these 2 are for the side straps. I do have a lobster clasp on the end of one, so that way it can be securely closed. Now all that's left is to connect them. So hard to do this. Holy moly. It is a little bit loose, so I am going to take a few of these links off. That is a little bit better. It might still be a little bit loose, but I can fix that later if I have to. Now I have the top pretty much done, but of course I want to add some pizzazz to this. So we're going to pull out the spikes once more. I'm going to add them to the bottom of the top and just kind of line the little pieces with these spikes, kind of elongating it, adding a little coolness to it, and that way it'll match my other pieces of chainmail, like my bag and my belt. So I'm putting the spikes on now and just realizing that one of these diamonds is slightly larger than the other. You can see the spikes don't quite line up. This one is 21 units long, and this one is only 20 units long on the sides. So I'm gonna go ahead and fix that so it is even. Here is the final result. I have adorned my cropped tank top chainmail armor that will protect me from all damage that could possibly kill me. You know, protect right here, we're good. I do love this top. I really like how pointy it is. I feel like I could add something else to this, maybe across the neckline, but honestly, I like how simple it is, and it secures very nicely in the back. Overall, really cool piece. Not as detailed as the chainmail top that I made in my previous chainmail video. That one I feel like I cannot beat, but go ahead and check that video out after this one. Now, if you're interested in watching an exclusive extended version of this YouTube video, then go ahead and check out our Patreon or YouTube memberships. Both of them offer the same thing, which is extended versions and early access to YouTube videos, as well as ad-free YouTube videos, discounts on our shop, and much more. Let's get into the rest of the video. Now, what would a full suit of chainmail armor be incomplete without? Jewelry. I know you guessed correctly, right? It was very obvious what I was going for there. So without further ado, let's make a chainmail necklace. So I think I can do this without any Pinterest inspiration. I'm gonna start with a little choker necklace. Now, I did really like the European 4-in-1 on my belt, using the smallest possible jump rings I have. And to finish off the ends of the necklace, I'm going to add one big jump ring to each side and then a lobster clasp as well. So the base of the necklace is complete. Now I need to add some little pizzazz. So I'm going to add some of these spikes. I have these long ones here, which I think I'm gonna do majority long ones. And then I also have some short ones here that I'm going to add throughout it as well. Necklace complete. However, this is not intense enough, so I'm going to make a second necklace. For this one, I'm going to bring back the same method that I used for the shoulder strap of my bag and also the top piece of my belt here. Here is the finished base of the necklace. It's pretty simple right now, but I want to go ahead and add some of these really cool swords. So I have a few picked out that I really like. I'm going to add these as well as some of these silver spikes. I think I'm going to also do these at varying lengths. Yes, he's so handsome. Do you need chainmail armor, buddy? Ooh, what if I made a chainmail collar? That'd be really cool. Here's how it turned out. I feel like this is something I could wear all the time. Wait a second. I had my mic down here the whole time. Could you hear me? I love these necklaces. I would say if the bag didn't take me so much effort and time, these would be my number one.
But wait. There's more.
I'm not done yet. I want to make something that doesn't really make sense, but it can be used for pretty much anything. I'll show you what I mean. I'm gonna start with a length of chain that is using my smallest jump rings, alternating 1 and 2 jump rings woven together. And then once that's long enough, I'm gonna go ahead and add silver spikes throughout the entire length of the chain. And then on each of the ends, I'm going to add some lobster clasps. This is a useful piece of jewelry because I can clip it pretty much anywhere I want on any piece of chainmail because these lobster clasps can just go literally anywhere. I'll show you my exact plan for it because I'm going to put on my entire outfit of chainmail. BRB. And here's my completed outfit. I have added the additional necklace connected to the straps of my shirt. How much noise am I making if I just like walk around? Because I walk around like this. I feel like this all matches pretty much exactly how I wanted it to. Also, there are so many more things that I could make out of chainmail. Let me know in the comments what kind of craft I should do next. I think overall this chainmail is pretty protective, honestly. It protects the majority of my jugular and then I started and it's a tank top, so there's no protection anywhere except for thank you for sitting through my But now I have my top, my bag. Where's my bag? Hey, Drew, whenever you're done, I need you to stab me. It's being protected here, and then, oh! Holy shit, that almost hit me in the eye. My jugular is protected. Oh. Stop getting so close to me!